Welcome back, everybody, to the Baltimore Orioles franchise, where it is finally the offseason. Yes, I am very excited to get this started and underway. We have some coach contracts ending. We get to re-sign some of our players and look to see what all is out there in free agency. But first, we get a look at our retired players for this season. And it doesn't look like there's any Orioles players that are retired, so that is a good sign. But I don't think we had anyone that was up there in age or ready to retire. Miguel Cabrera does retire. We get a few others. Ian Kennedy, Patrick Corbin, just going down the list. And you can get, Jason Hayward actually retired, and Wainwright. All right. Get Robinson Cano retired. That's usually how it goes with his age. And Robinson Cano and Miguel Cabrera are also 2023 Hall of Fame inductees. And that takes us directly into the offseason, where we get a look at our exclusive free agent negotiations and our staff. And real quick, I don't think I want to bring back Frazier or Pinder, but Ken Giles did play very well. He had a 1.31 ERA in 34 innings. Bounced back very well after his surgery, Tommy John surgery. 0.4 WAR, came back and performed at a fairly high level, so I'll be okay with exercising that team option that I gave him. And we're going to need a first base coach going into the year, but the rest of our staff only has 1 and 2 years except for our farm director. So honestly, I think that I want to just clean house, go into this second season with a completely fresh staff, except for our farm director. He's, an A attribute grade, but I'd like to get a little bit better attributes, a little bit better statistics, like the positives, no negatives, as much as I can, but I will let y'all know who I am thinking for those positions. And I think at manager, we're going to offer a contract to Stanley Isaac, A attribute grade, +1 to break, +3 to K per 9, and then +1 to play discipline and blocking. He doesn't have any managerial history, but I'm okay with giving him a 3-year contract, and we'll just make this for $14 million to get a little bit higher than his asking salary. I think for a hitting coach, we're going to go with Zachary Milano, A attribute grade. We really struggled last season with runners in scoring position and getting contact in general. So I feel like +2 to plate vision, +3 to clutch, +1 to plate discipline will kind of help out with that. And then the -1 to bunting, I think shouldn't really be that big of a deal. And we'll offer him a little bit more than he's wanting to hopefully get a deal done. For a pitching coach, I'm going to offer here to Scott Emerson. He is the only pitching coach that has, all positives in his attributes. Everyone else has at least 1 negative. So we'll give him a little bit more because that's what he is asking for. Go 4 years or 3 years at $4 million. For our third base coach, we're going to be bringing in Tommy Lasorda, a legend in baseball, and I actually have a signed baseball by him. We'll offer him this 3-year, $3.4 million deal. And for first base coach, we're going to go with Leonard Kino, A attributes, all positives. We have some speed on the team, but we would like to get a little bit better with our steals, so that's why I got him for his +2 stealing. And you can always, use some more arm strength in the outfield and blocking at the plate. But those are our submitted offers, and we'll check in on those as they come up. And we can sim through and see if we get any offers accepted. And Leonard Kino is now our first base coach. Scott Emerson is our pitching coach. Zachary Milano is our hitting coach. And we're still waiting for the others. So still have Tommy Lasorda and Stanley Isaac. We'll just up their offers a little bit more. We'll go $15 million for Stanley Isaac for 3 years, and then we'll go 3.5 for 3 years for Tommy Lasorda. And Tommy Lasorda is now our third base coach. So we have a legend there on the corner. You love to have that. And Stanley Isaac has accepted our offer, and he is now our new manager. So we have all of our staff filled up, and this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be the same staff for 3 years, all attribute grades. So I would expect at least, a pretty solid turnaround for next season. And it's now the first day of free agency as we look at some of the prospects that are available, or players that are available. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Nola, Julio Urias, Clayton Kershaw, a lot of pitchers available. but these are all have their qualifying offer made, which means we do lose a pick if we keep them on the team. So I think we're going to try and stay away from those. But I am looking at getting a starting pitcher to be our ace, and then maybe, another starting pitcher a little bit lower in case that ace doesn't work out or someone else that we have in our rotation doesn't work. And then just mainly some depth. I feel like our roster is pretty solid for youth right now. We do need that help at starting pitcher. We have Solomon Wall, who won't make his debut this year. Not sure if he'll make it next year, but he's definitely in the plans for the future. Relief pitcher, I feel like our relievers, if you look at their stats, they did fairly well, so I'm okay. Well, don't look at Hernandez's stats, but I'm fairly okay with rolling with what we had last year for the most part, so I don't think we need to go out and make a big relief pitcher splash there. We do need some depth at catcher. James McCann, his overall went down to 70. He had a good season last year as our DH against lefties, but I don't know if he can keep it up for another year. We might have to keep looking for something else. I mean, he is making $9.4 million to be our, second string catcher. But we're going to need more depth behind them no matter what. At first baseman, I'm looking for that, true AAA first baseman, as Lewin Diaz is going to be starting down in AA. I don't know how much longer he's going to be on the team. I do like his skill set. I like that he has that power, but he needs to just perform a little bit better. But he'll start in AA. We'll get a AAA first baseman, and then maybe a backup first baseman that can, make the major league team out of spring training this year. At second base, we're going to have Abraham Toro starting. Norby and Vaver will start in AAA. Percy Kutch will be in AA. So I think we're pretty set at second base as well. We have some good prospects. We have some okay prospects, and I'm prepared to give Abraham Toro the reins this year. He's got good power against a righty, a little bit better contact against a lefty, switch hitter. Hit 255 last year, and all of his seasons have been in limited work. So I'm excited to see how he kind of takes on an everyday role and how he performs in that role. At third base, we're going to just roll with Ramon Urias. Maybe we could get someone else. I don't think Jordan Westburg is quite ready for the major league squad. He might need another year or maybe a few months at AAA to work out some things. But I'd like to get maybe another infielder that can come in so we don't have to waste Jordan Westburg's MLB service time, and then more depth behind them as well. Shortstop, I think we're pretty much set here. We don't need anything. I'm thinking about having Jackson Holiday move over to second base in maybe a couple years, or maybe even come up at shortstop and slide Gunnar Henderson over to over to third base if Ramon Urias, we decide to move on from him eventually. In left field, I'm still torn about Austin Hayes. I feel like he's 28 years old. He's still in arbitration. He had a down year. We'll give him his year of arbitration to see if he can, start out this season a little bit better. But if he doesn't, we're going to probably have to look at trading him. And then we'll just look for some depth at all of our outfield positions. Colton Cowser might actually make an opening day roster for us. He played fairly well last year, finished with a 284 average in AAA, so he's borderline ready, at least to be, a fourth or fifth outfielder. And then for Kjerstad, I think he's going to start in AAA, but he'll still get another spring training invite. He's still on the 40-man. I don't want him to go in the Rule 5 draft, so we'll keep him on the 40-man, and he'll get a look at spring training and see what he's got. But back into free agency, and the first thing I want to look at are these starting pitchers. I think we need to bring in an ace. And there's only two pitchers here that are above 80 overall and under 30, and that is Jack Flaherty at 28 and Tyler Mahle at 29. So we're going to go with Jack Flaherty. He's a right-handed pitcher, 82 overall, A potential. Pitched 33 games, finished 12-8. He's pretty much had a winning percentage over 500 his entire career, so that's a good sign for us. He had a 3.07 ERA last year and a 1.3 WHIP and a WAR of 3.8, which is not in line with his past three seasons, but his past three seasons look like they were shortened because of injury maybe. But we are going to offer a contract here to Jack Flaherty Don't know if we want to go 5 years. He does already have an offer from the Cardinals, 4 years, 40.8. So we'll hit him with a 3-year contract. And we'll go $40 million a year, and he will be our ace. And that already puts us way ahead of the Cardinals, so I will take that. For a backup catcher, I may hold off on going that route because it looks like it's all just veteran catchers up at the top, and I don't think we really need to make a decision right now. But I am interested in Kevin Plevecki, 33 years old, 65 overall, decent fielder, good contact, good vision, and clutch. So if he had to come up and make a spot start in the majors, he could do it. But I want to see kind of what is available there after some of the other contracts are tendered. Same thing with first base. There's a lot of talent at the top, but I'm not really looking for a veteran presence here at AAA. The only one that's calling my name is Fernando Aguila, but at the same time, 25 years old, 66 overall. He's not much better than Lewin Diaz at this point. So here are the contracts that I've offered so far. The only big one is to Jack Flaherty. Everyone else is just, a high potential or decent potential depth player that might be a part of the team, pretty much just playing AA and Class A, maybe some AAA in there. And these are our contracts that need to be tendered. A lot of it is minor league players that haven't accrued any major league or any noteworthy major league time that we will be bringing back. And I'll walk y'all through who I'm not bringing back. And then we also at the same time have to offer arbitration to some of these players. And I'm thinking that since we've only played one season in this series, a lot of these players are not going to be signed to long-term contracts. Dylan Tate's 29. They're all 28 and 29, 30. I think the youngest might be Abraham Toro at 27. But I want to sign these guys to arbitration. I want to see what they can do 2 years in a row for us and then go address their contracts from there. Dylan Tate definitely played much better than what he was making last year. So I'm going to offer him arbitration, or let's see, if we make an offer, he wants 2.4 for his first arbitration year. So we'll go kind of in the middle on offering him arbitration. We'll go 2 mil. Eric Lauer pretty much played on par, so he'll get, wow, he wants a lot for his arbitration, huh? Yeah, 5.08. I think we'll bump it up a little bit since he played a little bit better, but I don't think he played worth $6 million. And I'm pretty much going to do that through all of these players just so, I feel comfortable with offering them a contract that I think that they are worth. The only person I didn't give arbitration to was Franchy Cordero. The Orioles actually released him in real life, or designated him for assignment before the season even started, and then he's with the Yankees currently right now. But he didn't play extremely well for us. He only got called up later in the season, and I think we can give his spot to just somebody younger or somebody that we think would fit our team a little bit better. So for our contracts, I've gone through and offered some of these contracts. There are a few once we get down into the sub 60s where I don't bring a lot of players back, and they're just not very good. They're mostly relief pitchers, a couple infielders, but I am bringing back that second baseman that's 50 overall. I still want to see what he's got left in the tank. I don't think he's going to start at AA, but I don't know, maybe. We'll see. We'll advance through a day or two, and Shohei Ohtani is going to be a Brewer. $35 million a year for 11 years for Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be pitching until he's 40. What are they thinking? Looks like other than the Brewers signing Ohtani, it's mainly just us signing some of those depth players that we saw and offered contracts to. Oh, it was actually all of them. So now only Jack Flaherty is the only offer that we have currently right now in free agency. I think I'll go ahead and offer Kevin Plevecki at this time. Just, cheap 1-year deal, $2 million. We'll see if he takes it at any point in this offseason. And we'll go ahead and release Franchy Cordero just to give him a little bit of a head start on free agency. And we'll sim a couple more days into the future, and I don't think that will change very much in the name of our offers. Plevecki and Flaherty are still mulling over what we gave them, and looks like we had some contract tenders accepted. Still waiting on a few more, mainly Grayson Rodriguez, 3 for 3.3. Maybe we'll just up his offer a little bit more. I'm already giving him a bigger offer than he should be getting. And for arbitration, there's not really going to be anything to report until we get into their arbitration hearings in February. So we keep simulating a couple days at a time, and the Rockies have gotten Josh Hader $11.2 million a year for a closer. Wow, Rockies spending some money. And they didn't give us a big graphic or anything, but we did sign Jack Flaherty, 3 years, $40 million contract. Kevin Plevecki to 1 year, $2 million contract. Dodgers signed Lucas Giolito. Looks like the Pirates signed Jorge Alfaro, the catcher. And nothing outside of those big signings yet. And I simulated until 40-man rosters are set, and it looks like Severino was signed by the White Sox, $13.9 million a year for 4 years. And we're here on November 24th, and I would kind of say this is the second wave of free agency. These are everyone who wasn't offered arbitration who goes into free agency now. So there's a little bit more quality here. For example, Mike Clevenger is new. Looks like Kenta Maeda is new. A lot of new talent here, and a lot of better depth than was here previously. And I do want to offer a contract here to Connor Joe. I highlighted him in first season, talking about he might be somebody that I'd want to trade for because he has good hitting statistics. He's good in the field. He's just a little slow, but he had a good season last year. A 275 average, 350 on base percentage, and a WAR of 1.3, which is better than his past two. So I think we'll offer him a deal here just for 1 year. Maybe he can tape over that spot that Profar is currently at, but we'll give him 1.2 a year. Sounds pretty good, but you're just going to be depth. I'm sorry, Joe. And I think for that AAA first base spot that we're thinking about, we might go and sign Dominic Smith. He's 28 years old, good hitter. Don't think he's going to be in the majors this year. We have a few players that are better than him. He struggled at the major league level, so maybe we can drop him down here in AAA and maybe get that potential up to that B where it's supposed to be at. And we'll go 2.2 for a year just so he's happy. And it looks like the Giants signed Frankie Montas, 2 years, 12.8. The Giants also signed relief pitcher Jordan Hicks. Angels signed a starting pitcher, Martin Perez. And Rangers signed a catcher, Tom Murphy. Josh Hader went to the Rockies. We saw that. And that is pretty much all that's happened so far through free agency. But I think we're pretty much done. I just have offers for Connor Joe, Dominic Smith, and Steven Montano. Just a starting pitcher with B potential who's way down in overall and age, so maybe he can come up to the big leagues whenever he gets like 35 or something like that. But we will continue simulating and check in, and looks like we're still waiting on our offer for Dominic Smith, but that means that we signed Connor Joe and Steven Montano. So good to have Connor Joe on the team. And that changes up our team a bit, but I believe Connor Joe and Jurickson Profar, they're both going to be at the major league level with Mullins and Santander. Kjerstad, Kalzer, they might battle for a spot. Maybe Profar goes down. Maybe Toby Welk comes up. Who knows? So we just simulate until we see that Matt Chapman is going to the Angels. $9.6 million a year contract. And check free agency, and it looks like Dominic Smith signed. We don't have any offers left. And he did sign, so he is now on the roster at the Norfolk Tides, and I'm pretty sure that will kind of end our day. I did want to take one of these guys and move them down into the bullpen. I believe it was Robert Brown. Robert Brown was a young pitcher that I found in free agency, a potential 21 overall. All his ratings were going down, so he might have been a creative player, but we'll see if he gets up to that A potential. If he doesn't, you know, we can always trade him, but he has decent statistics, it looks like, to start out with. So he will, by the looks of it, probably be in AA, AAA, maybe on the bubble of between those two, but probably start out in AAA. And we actually had some relief pitchers who were just taking up space, so I'm going to have to go sign a few relief pitchers out of free agency. We'll sign Robin Lindstrom. He looks like a pretty solid pitcher. Luther Shell is young at 18 years old, so he can develop into something. Coleman Oldham is young as well, 21, so looking for him to develop. And we'll just roll with those three for now, and I don't expect them to really wait out very long with contract details. And that will take us into the final stage of free agency where all players are available. Looks like Blake Snell doesn't like any of the contracts he's getting offered. Maybe we should have went after him. And you know what? We're not done. I want to bring in Luis Guillorme. Y'all can tell me if I'm saying that wrong, but I want to bring him up as a backup just in case Westberg isn't ready to come in and be a backup third baseman. We have Guillorme there. It looks like he's been in a platoon or a backup role previously, and he hits for a fairly high average, as that's pretty much all he is there for, but he has some infield utility, hits for a high average, gets on base. I'm thinking we'll sign him for 1 year just because he's a little bit cheaper than all of the other options. 1 year, $2.2 million should be okay. And I think I'm okay for now for that being our final offer. And if we need to go find someone else for depth, that should not be a problem. And looks like we have 41 players on our 40-man, and that can only mean one thing. We sign Luis Guillorme, the one who is going to be the big difference maker here in year 2 of this Orioles franchise. But we do have to remove someone from the 40-man roster. The real question is, who is it going to be? I think I'm okay with sending Taron Vaver down. He is a second baseman, and if I move, Jackson Holliday over to second base, I'm not too worried about losing Taron Vaver to the Rule 5 draft if he is eligible. But that takes us under 40, and we can keep simming away until the Rule 5 draft. Looks like the Twins signed Rhys Hoskins on $9.8 million a year. Aaron Nola goes to the Dodgers. And other big signings around, we saw Rhys Hoskins, saw Aaron Nola. Tyler Mahle, 3 years, $37.2 to the A's. Looks like Michael Fulmer is going to the Cardinals on a $2.5 million contract. Harrison Bader is going to the Reds, 3 years, $17 million. Looks like Rosenthal's going on a $2.9 million contract to the Royals. Gary Sanchez going to the Guardians. Jorge Lopez to the Angels, 6.8 on 2 years. Michael Lorenzen, the pitcher, goes to the Dodgers. Looks like the Dodgers are stacking up. Luis Sessa goes to the Cardinals on $420. Blaze it, $1 million a year. Cody Bellinger is going to the A's. I don't know if anybody here is also a fan of Mr. Hurricane, but he signed Cody Bellinger, and I was definitely looking at signing him, but I didn't want to do the same thing. So Bellinger goes to the A's to keep with continuity. Then Urshela, Phillies. Looks like Adalberto Mondesi goes to the Rangers. Noah Syndergaard to the Braves on the 2-year contract. That's interesting to see. Will Myers to the Twins. Matt Chapman goes to the Angels. I think we might have seen that. And that pretty much gets us back to where we were. And we have the Rule 5 draft, and let's go to it. Oh, wow. The Twins signed C.J. Cron as we get into the draft. Do we even have? We don't have a pick. How is that possible? Why don't we have a Rule 5 draft pick? How is that possible? Can someone tell me that? Can someone tell me why we don't have a Rule 5 draft pick? But we see there were some players that were picked. I don't think any of them were ours. Looks like J.P. Fireeisen for the Nationals, Sean Reed Foley for the Rockies, Jordan Holloway for Tigers, Efren Contreras, Pirates. Kyle Nicholas, Reds. Hoy Park, White Sox. Rafael Antigua, Astros. Joey Loperfido to the Phillies. So, doesn't look like there is anything really for us here. So, luckily we didn't lose anybody from our team. But we will just go to the arbitration negotiations. And the Twins have signed Hunter Renfroe, $8.7 a year. So it's like Yankees signed Miles Michaelis. Not sure exactly how you say his last name, but Renfroe went to the Twins. Miguel Sano went to the Astros, interestingly enough. Grichuk got that $420 contract. Hell yeah, dude. Naito, Garrett. Nothing too big of note. So we will keep simulating. And the Braves have signed Julio Urias away from the Dodgers. Wow. And I do have the trade frequency down here a little bit, just because sometimes the trades can be outrageous. So we haven't really seen any trades outside of ours. But simulating through the season, I'm pretty much sure we're done with free agency. We're done. We're just waiting for our arbitration days. And Blake Snell finally decides on the Angels. He gets $11 million a year, 3 years, at 31 years old. Pretty solid deal for him. And that brings us into our arbitration hearings. So the panel decided with Aiken, he will be making $1,400 next year. It's like Austin Hayes, they sided with us, so nice. So we get him at a bit of a discount, $2.86 mil. Ramon Urias will be getting paid $1.5. Jorge Mateo, looks like they sided with him, so he's making $2.6. Looks like arbitration for Eric Lauer, they sided with him. Man, we got to pay $6.2 million for him. Hopefully he steps his game up this year. A little bit better than that 3.6 ERA that he had last year. Abraham Toro, they signed with us, so we'll get him at $2 million last year. I did give some of these players a little bit of an increase just because they played a lot better than their ratings and stuff, so I felt like they deserved that pay increase. Cole Irvin gets a pay increase, 1.28. I believe he was making like $750,000. And Tate gets 2.3. I believe I offered him $2 million, so it's not paying too much over market price. And keep simulating, and we had arbitration for Dean Kramer. He's going to be making 1.5. I had him, I think, at like $1 million. Him and Cole Irvin might have both been at $1 million, but they are making more than that this year. And tomorrow's the last day to renew contracts for unsigned players. And we don't have any contracts to renew. And that takes us into spring training. And I want to take y'all through this roster and kind of who we brought in and what it's looking like, what you can look forward to in spring training for. But we're going to have Jack Flaherty, looks like being our ace going into the season and maybe a couple seasons after this. Grayson Rodriguez will back him up. Eric Lauer, Cole Irvin, and Dean Kramer are right now our top 5 going into the rotation. And then we'll have Bradish, who played great in the majors leagues last year, or not great, but filled in very nicely for a, I believe, 5th starter when Rodriguez went down. But he had a 4.77 ERA and a 1.46 whip, and he'll take that into AAA with DL Hall and Zimmerman backing him up. But y'all let me know what y'all think I should do with Solomon Walsh. Should we start him in AAA? Should we start him in AA? We will get him in an episode where we get to see him pitch. It's not going to be the first episode because that's going to be, spring training and opening day. But look for that in episode 2. We'll get to see his debut. But you guys let me know if you think that should be in AA or AAA. Relief pitchers, pretty much rolling with what we had last year. Dylan Tate, Ken Giles, Aaron Ashby, those are our top 3. Hernandez will get an opportunity here in the major leagues to start the season. He had a horrible start the past 2 years that we just have not been able to keep riding with him, but he's going to get a start at least in spring training, see what he has there. Keegan Aiken, he might become trade bait if he plays very well. He played out of his mind last year with a 1.98 ERA. But then we also have Tyler Wells. Joey Crable may make the major league team. He played well last year, so no reason why he couldn't this year. And then Perez, Santillan, those are the 2 that are kind of waiting in the wings. kind of on the bubble between the minors and the big league club. Closing pitcher Felix Bautista, that's a no-brainer. And then we have two newcomers, Charlie Johnson, Corey Shartner, got him for the name, but those are our closers in AAA and AA. At catchers, Adley Rutschman, backed up by James McCann, same system we had last year. But this year, it is going to be Kevin Plevecki and Samuel Basallo at AAA, and Juan Caruso and Christian Aaron, who are two newcomers at AA. And I'm thinking we're going to go and get another catcher just to be our Class A catcher in case we have an injury or something like that. Same thing with first base. We're going to need to bring somebody in for depth. But we have Mountcastle starting at the major league level. Dominic Smith in AAA. Lewin Diaz will get an invite, I believe, just because he was eligible for the Rule 5 draft. But Lewin Diaz will probably not play in spring training very much, but he will be at AA. Abraham Toro is the day one second baseman. It is his job to lose. Percy Kutch will start out in AA, I believe. Unless y'all think he should start in AAA, y'all let me know what y'all think should happen. But I always feel comfortable starting new prospects at AA over AAA. And we have Connor Norby, Taryn Vavra from last season, as well as Adam Hall and Powell. Starting third base is going to be Ramon Urias. Guillorme backing him up. Westberg is on that AAA Major League bubble, but he's probably going to start in AAA to begin with. And everything else is pretty new. Scott Cooper is a new addition, 19 years old, 55 overall, has some pop. Yeah, we'll see if he evolves a little bit. Gunnar Henderson is the man at shortstop. Jorge Mateo's backing him up, and Jackson Holliday is waiting at AAA. He is on the... Oh, he's not on the 40-man roster because he is not Rule 5 eligible. But Joey Ortiz is, because he was Rule 5 eligible. But Joey Ortiz will go into spring training. Jackson Holliday will still sit at AAA. He had a hard time of it last season. I think he only had like a 210 average during that last month in AAA or last couple months in AAA. So he'll start out there. If he plays well enough, you know, he might come up to the Major League club and supplant Abraham Toro at second base. And then after that season, I don't know whether we should move Gunnar Henderson to third, let, you know, Holliday play second, or let Holliday play short, and then have one of these other guys come in at second base. But leave your comments down below what you think should happen. Left fielder, Austin Hayes, we're giving him one more year. And then the backup outfielders, Connor Joe, Jurickson Profar, both of them are quality outfielders, quality bench hitters, and they have infield utility. Connor Joe at first and third and left and right. Profar at pretty much everywhere. So I like having that utility in our outfielders. And same thing with Guillorme. He plays second, short, and third base. And same thing with Mateo. He plays pretty much everywhere as well. But in center field, we have a bit of a log jam. Cedric Mullins is the starter, but he's getting up there in age a bit. And Colton Cowser is looking to take that spot maybe in another year or so. 24 years old, pretty solid ratings all across the board. And then Ryan McKenna and Kyle Stowers, they were on the bubble in that first season where I didn't think we would, you know, have a spot for them going into season 2 or season 3 or so on and so on. But they've stuck around. They've upped their game a bit and continued to get better. And I think that having them down here in the minors is good for them, good for the ball club, and has someone to push Colton Cowser to be better. And Anthony Santander at right field. He signed for 3 more years, including this year. But he had a down year last year, only hit .226. He did hit 27 home runs. We're going to look to get some of those stats a little bit better. And Kjerstad had an absolutely terrible year at both the Major League level and AAA level, hitting, I think he may have gotten just past the Mendoza line in AAA. He actually hit .233 in AA, so he's going to be, I'm thinking he's going to start at AA. He will get an invite to spring training so we can see what he's got, but I'm thinking he's going to start in AA. We have Cowser, McKenna, Stowers, and Toby Welk, who can all go to AAA, so I think that starting him in AA gives him the best opportunity to succeed. And that is pretty much how the roster looks right now. You guys let me know what y'all think down below. If you enjoyed the off season, leave a like on the video, comment what you think, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time as we get through the spring training and into opening day of year number 2. Have a wonderful day, everyone.